I'm Sophia, and this is the ultimate podcast for celebrating all things wonderful about our beautiful island. Welcome to Destination Cyprus. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Destination Cyprus. I hope you had a fabulous summer. Now, something quite memorable took place this summer, and I'm sure you've all been talking about it, the Paris Olympics. And today in our studio, we have a national hero, our two-time Olympic medalist, Pavlos Kontides.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm a little bit giddy because I've got this feeling that we need to get this box unboxed before we start our conversation because it's very exciting. You've obviously seen it for a while, but go on, show us.
Let's do it.
How many times have you had to do this?
Not so many.
Only for excitable people like me. Wow. An Olympic medal is forever, so you can wear your Olympic medalist pin with great pride every day. And it's as beautiful as I had imagined, because obviously we all saw the opening, which was very talked about, wasn't it? I want to start untraditionally so with how it feels, please, because most of us will never know the feeling. We will never quite understand the work that has gone into this, the years and years of training and dedication and commitment. You do this for you. You obviously must do it for your country as well. Please tell us how it feels and talk us through the moment when you realize that you've won an Olympic medal.
So it's very hard to use the right words. I think there are not enough words to describe such feelings. It, of course, great honor and happiness and joy, but at the same time, a great relief. It's been 12 years since my last Olympic medal, and I was always dreaming for one more or more than one medals. And when the time passes and Rio came, I finished seventh, and Tokyo, this controversy with the penalty, the second penalty, which ended me up in fourth, then always are question marks in your mind. And managing to clinch the silver Olympic medal again was a great relief. And exactly when I was crossing the finish line of the medal race, the Australian was first, so he was securing gold medal. And I just took my hat off and put it on the water and just did that. That moment, it was kind of so many thoughts in my mind that I knew that I was preparing and fighting for the gold medal, but at the same time, I was really proud and really happy that I managed to win silver. And at that moment, it was sinking in what I have achieved. And then I came to my coach, and I just stepped out the boat. I came on the rib, and we hugged, and he was crying, and he just told me, 12 years is too much. So the 12 years of wait was really too much, and on that moment, it was a really powerful moment with a lot of tears from both of us. And I will never forget that moment, of course. And then I jumped back on my boat and I had to sail back to the shore. And I was steering alone. It was not much wind, so it was a slow sail back to the shore. And then you can see pictures when I came next to the spectator area where the high rocks, and you could see people with the Cyprus flag having it high. And one of them was without a t-shirt. That was one of my cousins. And at the same time, me also raising the Cyprus flag, and my coach behind raising his hands. And I mean, these are pictures that bring out so many emotions, so much that you will always remember. And of course, after I sailed back to the shore, we took the boat out, and a lot of my family was there, my wife, my son, my parents, my friends. And I just ran to them, ran to my wife. We hugged, we were like crying together. You could hear everybody crying and shouting Pavlo. And I mean, these are moments that will always live really vivid inside me. And it's very hard to describe the emotions because the journey to achieve this is it's long, it's a lot of dedication, hard work, commitment, consistency, and many times you don't have the results you want, and many times you have a lot of black clouds in your mind above your head. But if you are persistent and you never give up and you always strive and thrive towards your dreams and goals, it's not for sure that you will achieve them, but you increase the possibility.
I can't believe you said it's really hard to describe it in words. This is officially the first podcast that has made me well up. I can't possibly imagine it, but hearing you describe it, knowing that family was there, that it meant so much to you to do something like that for Cyprus is as close as it's going to get to reality for me. So it's beautiful to hear that directly from you. And something that I also alluded to before we started our conversation, I can remember your sister coming to see me back in the Limassol Marina days, probably more than 12 years ago, when the family was trying to help you build the momentum and find sponsors. And to remember the boy, Pavlos Kontides, and what it must mean to Limassol and the Limassol Nautical Club that you went on that journey and that you fought so hard to get the recognition and the support that you needed to get yourself to a place where you could then aspire for these goals. It just sounds emotionally and mentally grueling thinking about it. What was that like for you? Were there ever moments when you thought, this is unfair, and why am I not getting the support that I need, and I'm so good and I believe in myself, why can't other people believe in me? Does that happen at some point? Do you doubt?
Of course it happens, because when you have expectations, many times they backfire, in the sense that when I was winning my first Olympic medal in Weymouth in London, I was expecting that I will be immediately flooded with sponsors. But this was not happening. It was the moment when the haircut came in, and our banking system was not at its best, and our credibility also. And it was only in May 2013 that I clinched the deal with OPAP Cyprus, that they're my lifetime sponsor. They're still. And you can see that now the t-shirt I'm wearing, it's full of companies and full of sponsors that I need to thank them. But it took so many years to build this. And this proves the point that expectations can be dangerous. And you have to have inner motivation, not external motivation, because it's easy to believe that you will get a lot of sponsors and externally motivate yourself, but having sponsors doesn't depend only on you. It's the CEOs and the boards need to decide that they want to support you and see what you see in yourself. They have to see then maybe even something extra in order for that to happen. And that's why I'm kind of highlighting this and emphasizing it for especially young kids, that they aspire an athletic career or a career that can depend on the support of external factors. If you expect it because of you achieving something, it can backfire, and it can put you in sad moments in your life. And I talk from experience, because this will happen. And I emphasize the fact that it took 12 years to come to this t-shirt you see right now, which shows that it's not only the persistent and hard work that you do as an athlete, but also the team you have of people around you, and trying to close the circle and put all the pieces of the puzzle together.
So on that note, tell us more about Towards Paris, because I obviously had been under the impression that was a slogan that was purely about the Olympic goal. And then I understand that there's more to it, that you've been doing something to help others as well. We'd love to hear about that.
Exactly. So this idea was born before Tokyo Olympic Games. It's we call it Athletic Responsibility Campaign. And the goal was to increase, and the dream was to increase the amount and number of Cypriot athletes participating at the Olympic Games. For Tokyo, we supported 5 athletes. When I say supported, it was mainly financial support. The funds for Tokyo, we had the funds by selling merchandise, caps and t-shirts in all pksailingshop.com. And then for towards Paris, we continue this initiative, and we felt that it was not enough funds just from the merchandise. So we are trying to figure other ways how we can raise money. And at the beginning of February, we organized the gala dinner. It was the president of the country present, a lot of my sponsors, a lot of the entrepreneurs of Cyprus. And we managed to gather the staggering amount of almost €100,000. And we supported 10 athletes for 2024. It was 7 of them in 2023. And just in 2024, we gave to all the athletes €7,500.
Wow.
And 3 of them qualified for the games, which got €2,500 more. Some amount of money are still left, and the reason is because we want to continue that. It will be towards Los Angeles. And the main reason is this, to relate this with the sponsors, because I experience trying to qualify for the games, how important it's to have this extra budget to buy equipment, to make the extra trip for an extra competition or extra training camp. And it can be not so big amount, but it makes a huge difference, and a difference of if someone will manage to qualify for the games or not. And usually Cyprus sends 15 athletes, male and female, at the Olympic Games, plus or minus. And my dream is to increase that number. And that's why we created this, and that's why we are pushing through. And I'm sure that in the future can be even much more successful. And I want to continue it even when I will not be competing.
I was going to say that it's such an amazing thing to hear, and it's always very encouraging to hear that people in a sporting career have a long-term vision, because obviously sport's not something that everybody can do forever. There's an expiry date. But let's talk a little bit about Cyprus and you making history, obviously the first ever Olympian athlete, and the reception, the hero's welcome you get when you come back after an Olympic medal. Talk us through what happened, because I saw some brilliant pictures, and it must have been an incredible moment.
I mean, it's really amazing. First at the airport, so many kids were there, and they were hugging me and shouting my name, and wanted to have pictures with me and take autographs. And I mean, people might think that's tiring, because after so long journey and the flights and everything, that you want to rest. But actually, you receive so much positivity from these moments that you have to feel grateful and lucky to have them. And then we had a more modest reception at the municipality in the mayor house. And it was also really nice to be there. And during the night with the sunset at the Limassol Nautical Club, I came with the rib, and it was fireworks, and people were shouting my name, and again in the pictures and everything. So it was really amazing. And eventually the night closed next door at Columbia Beach. It was 25 of us. And me and my wife, we had the privilege that our little boy was sleeping in his stroller. He was so tired, and we were able to
If only he
party.
knew what he was missing. My baba has just come back with an Olympic medal. But one day he'll appreciate that, I'm sure. And let's talk about the Limassol Nautical Club, because again, I mean, every time we have guests over from the UK, I tell them that, you know, my mother used to go there when she was pregnant with us. I mean, that's how far back it goes. What does being from Limassol and having developed this passion at the Nautical Club in your hometown mean for you? I mean, how did that evolve? Where did it all begin?
So being from Limassol and just living 5-10 minutes away from the sea or from the club, it's a great privilege, because many sailors around the world don't have that privilege, that they're so near, and they have so much access to the sea or to sailing or to any nautical sport. And unfortunately, we don't use it as much as we should, and we can speak later about that. But yeah, it's a great honor, and it all started first in 1996. I was just 6 years old. My father took me at the club.
I finished school in 96.
But they said that I was too young. So I came back when I was 9. It was May 1999. and everything started as playing with other kids, having fun. But already when I was 12, things were getting much more serious, in the sense that my mom was trying to gather us. I have a brother and a sister which are older than me. I'm the youngest of the three of us. And my mother was trying to gather all of us to go for a family holiday during the summer, no school. And I will always say, no, I want to stay to sail. And you don't expect this from the youngest. You usually
No.
expect kind of negativity and not wanting to go with the family from the oldest. But my reasoning was I was having a lot of fun sailing, and I wanted to improve. And that's how it all started. And 2004, I went as a spectator with my father at the Athens Olympic Games. And when I was witnessing the big national flags on the sails and the surnames of every sailor, it really ignited the flame inside me. And I really said, okay, I want to go at the Olympic Games. I want to try and win an Olympic medal. I was just 14 years old. I came back. I was telling this to my best friend or to some people, and probably they thought that I'm kind of crazy or I lost my mind, because it was something that was so far off from for any Cypriot at the moment. And also, I was pretty young and not even near to that level. But I'm saying this because without a dream that sounds crazy, then you can never reach as high as possible. You always have to aim really high. Maybe you won't reach it. So, for example, if your capabilities are up to here and you aim here, I guarantee you that you will reach your capabilities and probably exceed them. But if your priorities are here and you aim just here, you won't even reach your full potential.
Meant the state of mind.
So it's just about, on a daily basis, anything we do, on the long term, short term, it's about trying to get the best out of yourself.
Let's talk about mindset then, because you obviously know your schedule, but would you say, if you had to put it in percentages, I mean, how much of it is the physical? Because I imagine you have to be on top of your game physically all the time, whether you're in the water or not. There's the physical training, there's the mental side of things, the psychological side of things, the diet. I mean, so your whole lifestyle must be about retaining this mental mindset and commitment. Is it ever exhausting? And how much would you say is your split?
It is exhausting because it's very hard to sustain it all the time. And a great example is now that the Olympic Games finished, and for a month or so I haven't done anything, and I feel like a balloon which is just.
Are you eating souvla and drinking
I'm
zivania?
I'm behaving like a normal human being, let's say. and I mean, it's very hard to put it in percentages, in numbers, because the proportions are very dynamic and they're changing, and depends even of the stage of your career. So if I can compare with 2012, when I was just 22 years old, of course the mental part was important, but at that time I kind of didn't know what I was doing, in the sense that it was not so obvious to me what will happen if I'm gonna win an Olympic medal, for example. But now I knew, and this can be a very dangerous thing for your mind, because if you let it go that way, it's very easy to undermine your performance and give you extra unnecessary pressure. And this was kind of seen in the Olympic Games, when I had a lot of expectations. And a mistake which I did is, once the London Olympic Games finished and all the journalists were immediately asking me, and what is now the gold in Rio, I fall in their trap. I said yes. And this goes back to the beginning when we spoke about expectations. And all this together with more things kind of gave the outcome of Rio. And the outcome, it was not that was bad. I finished 7th, which is still a really great result. But I felt that I was not able to perform at my best. I was not able to give the best out of me. And this hurt, especially at the Olympic Games, that is every 4 years. So you always prepare that you come at your best possible shape in all aspects, fitness-wise, strategically-wise, tactically-wise, technical-wise in your boat, getting to know the venue, how the wind behaves and the currents and the waves, but also mental wise as well. And I would say how I'm growing older, that the mental part I think takes a bit of a higher percentage because of the experience and knowing kind of what to expect if success comes. And the tricky part is to balance that and not allow it to affect you and stick to your plan and to your processes and just do what you've been doing your whole life.
Sounds very mature. So it's obviously also the advantage of the experience, but also appreciating looking at things differently as we all get older. But what fascinates me, and again, this is something that I recently discovered, that you were actually in Southampton for a BA in engineering, which was a bit of a where did that come from? And you did a master's in the sports business. So I'd be interested to hear, did those two things help at all in your career?
Actually, they did. And I will explain why. So, Southampton, I was, after China Olympic Games, I enrolled at the university. And at 2 years down, I decided that I will pause, I will freeze my studies so I can fully prepare for London. And I want to share here, excuse me, I want to share here, when I was taking this decision, initially, my mom was really against it. And she was like, no, you can't do both, because I also in grammar school, I kind of did 6 years instead of 7. And I'm sure you can do fine. You wouldn't now freeze your studies or stop your studies, and this is the typical reaction you expect from parents or from a family. And then I said to her, Mom, Olympic Games are every 4 years. You never know how good of chance you will have. And everybody's professional. Everybody is just doing that full time. So I just want these 2 years to fully devote. And whatever the result, I just want to know that once it's finished, I want to see myself in the mirror and say, hey, buddy, you did your best. Once I told her this, she became my strongest ally. So anyone from the family who was kind of, why will you do that? Yes, Pavlos will do that. And after he will come back. So that will happen. I did the games, then I came back to study, and I graduated with a bachelor in 2013. And then once the Rio was finished, I kind of realized that my mind was kind of a bit more hesitant in fast decision makings. And my conclusion was that I was not anymore studying or in the university. And I realized that I had to go back. And that was the reason that why I did the master in sports business. And I did it fully online. And then I started that. When I was doing it, I was kind of, did you really need that? It was a lot of days that the time schedule was hectic, that I had to find also time to study. But what I realized, as human beings, the more we push ourselves with time restraints, the more efficient we become somehow. Maybe it's not for everybody, at least for me, it's like that. And it proved a point. I graduated in 2018. It took me 2 years. So the fastest you could do it was 1.5. The slowest was 5. And I did it in 2 while competing and everything. And 2017 and 18 were at the moment my most successful sailing years. I won back-to-back World Championship. I won European Championship in 2018. A lot of medals from World Cups. And they eventually gave me this watch, Rolex World Sailor of the Year in 2018, which is the best honor a sailor can have from all sailing disciplines, not just Olympic sailing.
Wow.
Big boats, America's Cup, Volvo Ocean Race, Vendée Globe, everything that is related with sailing, every year it's the best male and best female athlete. And for that year, I was elected to be the one.
That's so amazing. I mean, for all of us Cypriots, it just feels like, I think we're a little bit more spoilt now than we used to be, because after you, there was a trickle effect of suddenly federations and governments actually paying attention a little bit more to sports, having it all been football our whole lives. After Pavlos Kontides, it was like life before Pavlos and life after, because I think then gradually tennis got the attention that it deserved. And slowly, we're seeing a change, which is brilliant to have that knock-on effect. But I'd like to read this, though, because it's one of the first things that comes up on the internet. And I couldn't have put it better myself, because it says, a humble, hardworking, focused national treasure who engraved his name in the history books as the first and only Olympic medalist of his home country, cementing himself on the global circuit as one of the finest sailors in the world. I'm sure that probably feels a bit surreal to you, but the impact that has on all of us and the sense of pride that we feel, I think gives us almost the confidence and the belief that we can push other generations now, because people will sit up and listen. So I'd love to hear your views on how you think things are changing for the better, and if you're feeling optimistic about the future for the youth, for the younger generations.
So this is a very long subject and can be even spicy.
Yeah.
First, I want to go back in 2012 that after the medal, I've witnessed myself and experienced the change of the support from the government, not just in myself, but even up to now, you could see that athletes, even that they don't have Olympic medals, but they are in top 8 or they're entering the finals, they receive much more support, which is very good and very encouraging compared to before the Olympic medal. This shows that the country, the government recognizes what of an impact we have in sport and in international sport, and how much we promote our country, but at the same time, how much we attract the youth and the community into sport, which has a multiple impact on a positive way, from putting them away from bad habits and living healthy lifestyles, which will eventually, once they grow, they can have a bigger impact in the community. Now, how I see the future, I don't see currently any big changes, but I think some drastic changes are necessary. We have recently been in the Parliament House, visit the President, Ms. Anita Dimitriou, and she was open to hear discussion. And something that came really up was that the high sport and the high Olympic sport, individual sport, kind of needs to have a separate department from COA or from COE. And the thing is that Cyprus Sport Organization, COA, has so many things under their umbrella. And the level and the science of Olympic sport is so high that, in my opinion, it has to be a separate department of the government. They should have the budget in advance for 4 years. Currently, Cyprus Sports Organization gets their budget every year. Not even that, usually is delayed up to May until it's voted. And the needs of the athletes and the preparation, the trainings, they never stop. Olympic Games is what everybody's interested to watch, but this is it's our life. It's continuous. It's all the time. You are competing every year in many championships. You are training on a daily basis. So the needs are there. Just the Olympic Games come every 4 years, kind of a cherry on top of the cake. And that's what people want to bite first, what they see. But the whole story is the whole cake. And if the whole cake is rotten or it's not well prepared, then the cherry won't save you. And it's many things that has to kind of happen if we want to create a system. Currently, there is no system in place that can produce Olympic medalists. We have to be clear with that. Most of the high-level results that we experience over the years mainly started from individuals, from their families. You could see Marcos Bagdatis, he needed to go out from the country. I needed to go out of the country. You had Kyriakos Ioannou, he was doing really well. At the moment, he had also strong federation, but he was also training in Greece. From after the Olympic Games, it was Agios Kosmas was the venue that was hosting a lot of Cypriot athletes at the moment. And as a country, we have to think of how are we creating a system. How we have 8, 9, 10-year-old kids entering in the sports, and then at every stage of their athletic life cycle, we know what to do with them, and eventually bring them to the Olympic level. This is what big nations have, and that's why you can see same nations winning the same medals, but with different athletes. But in smaller nations, you don't see that because there is no system in place. And now it's kind of, I would say, the last chance to do it, in the sense that eventually the time will come that I will also stop, for example. And I accommodate and acquire so much knowledge, so much experience throughout my journey, that it's kind of my obligation and also my will to pass it on. This is also big investment from the government. Since 2013, that most of my expenses are being paid by the government. It's money from people who pay taxes, and it's my obligation, responsibility, that this knowledge make sure that it passes on, and that eventually, if another young sailor wants and dreams to follow my footsteps and my pathway, they don't need to travel outside of the country. They can be here.
Wow.
But now we need to bring the knowledge. So it's a lot of things. That's why I said it's really a long subject. And one of my dreams is also to, what I said many times, is to see Cyprus seas with many sails. And I would love one day to have an international sailing academy which can have impact in many ways in the community, attract from primary schools, bring kids to learn, to kind of organizing corporate championships between lawyers, between accountants, and like to increase the nautic culture. We are an island and we don't have a nautic culture. If you go and ask people to tie you a knot, what this from where the wind is blowing, or you go now, it's 15th of September, go and check how many Cypriots swim in the sea. There will be not so many. The school started, is like kind of the summer is finished.
Yes.
But we are blessed with the conditions we have here, and we don't use them. I cannot accept that I was in Germany many years ago, 10th of June, competing, and it was, I think, 11 degrees, cloudy and raining, and out in the sea was maybe 2,000 sails from all kind of boats, all kind of activities. Some people were training seriously or racing, others were enjoying just having a barbecue on the boat. And this shows nautic culture. And I cannot accept that they have this in Germany. I cannot accept that now Austria won 2 Olympic gold medals in sailing and they don't have a sea. Because some people there have vision, they build a system. And it's absurd because we kind of collaborate also with Austria in the meteorological project. And I'm really good also with the people who manage to win, and they work hard. But if you just go away and look from a perspective, hey, Austria doesn't have sea. They can win medals in the Winter Olympics and skiing, but not in sailing.
I love you. I mean, you hit the nail on the head because you said the word vision there. And I've sat across this table from people from various sectors, and vision, strategy are the two things that are holding us back in many areas. And it's a shame because, yes, absolutely, when we have the right ambassadors with the knowledge and the experience to be able to help us carry through the vision, we should absolutely be taking advantage of it. So it's sacrilegious not to. I mean, I grew up in Limassol, and I'm not a very nautical. I mean, I'm not as connected to the sea as I should be. Even I find it bizarre. Now I've started, appreciating it more. I'll wake up early to go for my run by the sea, but it's crazy. And when we started Limassol Marina as well, we found that it was so difficult to actually convey to people that there are careers as well on the sea. There are careers for people who might want to be in sailing or might want to be crew or work on ships. It's something that's quite fresh still, I think, and it's something that we have to build on. And because we're talking about Korea and Limassol and the sea, it's kind of a little bit of a tangent, but it must be a big part of your life. So you're now married with a 3-year-old?
Almost 3,
Almost
in December.
3. So tell us a little bit about being able to balance all of that, because you move around a lot, don't you? You're not here permanently.
Yeah, we move around a lot, and the biggest praise needs to go to my wife. because she's the one spending 24/7 with our little boy Leonidas.
Oh.
He's very active, and as most of the toddlers are. And I really, my success the last, not just this Olympic medal that came recently from Paris, but since he was born, I've had pretty much really good results and successful championship, European championships, and really she deserves a big piece of the pie of this success, because she's the one that she's making sure that the families and Leonidas is growing on the best possible way, and I'm away training or competing without having to worry, or without her giving me stress. Just exactly the opposite. She's taking away any possible stress from me, and without her talking about it, I know, and she's ensuring me that everything is fine, and she's managing, and I have to be really grateful for that.
I mean, I was having a look at your social media, and you're quite right. People just assume it's all about the Olympics. I can't believe how busy you are. It's like every day you're out there doing something, and I assume that now as well, because of the title and the kudos that comes with being an Olympic medalist, you've got all these obligations as well, and people want a piece of you. Everybody wants you to hand out a medal and do this and do that. You must be absolutely fixed day in, day out, unless what you just say, I'm taking a week off, and you disappear.
Exactly, because the hard part here is to not dive myself and kind of accept every request from around, and then not devote the time my family deserves. And it feels like for me it's very challenging now to kind of balance these two and make sure that I'm not omitting them, because in Cyprus also we have this in our culture. A lot of people will call and have many requests, and I'm a person that is hard for me to say no, and this can undermine or reduce the time I spend with my family, which I don't want. And somehow eventually I find the strength to say, I cannot, because it's not that it's an obligation, but I also really want to spend time with them, and it's necessary. It's every healthy family in the world. You have the parents spending time together, spending time with their kid, and yeah. And sometimes I find it's challenging to make sure that I balance it the right way.
Once you're established enough, is there a cutoff point where obviously you have to, because you're too busy, where you get somebody who's representing you to be able to filter these? I mean, you're not, I imagine because it's Cyprus, a lot of people want to contact you directly, but are you able to filter things and just say, okay, I can't deal with this, please handle? You must have a big enough team now.
Yeah, I have a team who are in charge of that, and many times when I receive personal requests, I just redirect them and maybe cut this personal touch, but I think it's the only way that I manage to keep the balance and manage to stay focused on my preparation, my training, spend time with my family. Otherwise, if you fall in that road and just go through all requests that you receive, then the success will stop coming, and exactly. And not only that, you kind of, I won't be preparing how I should, and so you have, when you want to pursue high level sport, you have to learn to say no.
The people pleaser is a problem, isn't it? And what about the family, the broader family? Because obviously your parents, your brother, your sister, that's the team that you started with. Are they still quite involved in everything that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, they're always there to support me, and eventually and thankfully they don't need to financially do it anymore,
Themselves.
especially after the first Olympic medal. But morally, they are always there, anything I need. And initially, also, my sister was kind of my manager, and she was trying to figure out the sponsorship deals and things like that. But through the years, it became to a more professional level. As I said, I have my team of people, So they are more like my family now. They don't have so many external roles that they used to be, and I think it's healthier for them as well, and more professional from my side that I have professionals who are educated for those roles.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Cyprus and family then. I mean, when you're here, are there things that you enjoy doing outside of the water?
Yeah, of course, I enjoy spend time with family and friends, and it's very typical in the island that we have a lot of lunches or dinners. We enjoy our good food and good company, and usually the weather allow us to sit outside, outdoors, and enjoy. And I like to also explore Cyprus. There's so many little gems around, and nature, and up in the mountain, or some rocky beaches that you can visit. And my wife, not being from Cyprus, kind of pushes me as well to show her around. And I have to admit that myself, I haven't explored the whole Cyprus because
No.
there's so many things you can explore. And I like to visit many places. I'm trying to with her. We travel a bit and show our son.
Well, I was going to say you're going to have to do it all again anyway when he gets older. So
Can't complain. Cyprus has small distances, and
Yeah, we're lucky.
it's so convenient to go around. I mean, within 1 hour, pretty much from Limassol, you can go in any direction, and there's not much left of the island. And you don't have this in many countries in the world, especially with this weather and the combination of the distances. Even though I have to admit now the traffic in Limassol is getting hectic, and it's something that the authorities have to really tackle, and really drastic measures, because I think if we just wait the next 2-3 years and number of cars get more and more, we have huge problems.
yeah.
And we have to use examples what we use abroad. We have so many countries that they use bicycles to commute, and we have to fix this and make sure that it's functioning. And I think it's possible, and the weather here really allows for that. Example is Netherlands. They have so much rain, and so many people commute with a bicycle. And if you go on Google Maps and you put, when you are within the city, you go from point A to B, usually the time that you need with the car is the same time what you need with the bicycle, because it's traffic with the car, because every traffic light priority has the cyclists. So I know that we have, in the summer it's really hot and people will sweat. So offices should have, especially the big ones, they should provide a shower for people that they're able to come to work. They have a locker and they leave their clothes, so they come with the shorts.
It's
they
a
have a
simple
shower.
solution, isn't it?
Yeah. And also nowadays with the bicycles with the battery, you don't need much to train yourself, and you're just commuting.
Not overexerted. Yeah.
So I mean, there are ways. And anyhow, in the summer the schools are shut, so the traffic is less. But when the school starts, so I mean, people have to really put their heads around this, because I think it can be a huge problem.
No, I agree. I was in Berlin recently, and I couldn't believe that I mean, there was absolutely no traffic, because there's not a single local who's using a car. So it's amazing. Okay, well, that kind of covered my what's the one thing you would change about Cyprus. But if there's another one that's a bigger issue for you, is there something else that you would change if you could, if you had a magic wand and I told you Cyprus is yours, change whatever you want tomorrow?
Only one thing.
Well, you've already had the traffic, so I don't. One more.
Yeah, I have the traffic. I mean, I will. This is what I said before with nautic culture and bringing more people to the sea. And even though I don't have the magic wand to do it in a second, I will try to do it myself throughout my life journey. It's something I really feel like I have an impact on. And I already have a lot of ideas, and I want to talk with the governmental authorities how we can really try and have an impact, because every time now I won the Olympic medal 2 times. I hope also many more athletes will do it in the future, but every time such a big success comes, there is an explosion of joy, of pride and everything, but there is also a great opportunity. But the thing is that we don't have to wait every time for such a thing to come for the exception, because usually this is the exception and you never know if it will happen again. We have to put things in place that creates the system, like we said before. And one of the visions I have is spreading the naughty culture in the island.
And do you think that's a 5 to 10 year plan? I mean, what's next for you imminently while these things are bubbling?
I mean, it's definitely a long-term plan.
Yeah.
And first, the results we definitely need some time to see. And the longer you wait, the better the results you see. And I would say even 20 years down the line, you can have... if you want to see, let's say, the next Olympic medal, you have to see it as a plan of 20 years. And this sounds like huge, but the reason why many people don't have vision is because they want results fast. But vision is something that needs a lot of patience and a lot of courage and a really big stomach of receiving punches in it. Otherwise, you can't make it far.
I think we should probably let that resonate, because I love that as a message. And when are you off again? You're in Cyprus at the minute for how long?
Yeah, in a couple of days we are leaving again, but then come back. So it's a lot of traveling, but I will start fully preparing. And now I started with fitness, and I start fully preparing end of November, beginning of December. It's I think this is the first ever time that I took so much break off from the sailing. But thankfully there was no any major competition now, and kind of it's well deserved, because after Tokyo we just had 3 years to prepare for Paris, and immediately after the games I had the European Championship and World Championship, and then our son got born, and I was even though the team came over in Cyprus, I was immediately went off to training and left my wife at home, and which was not the right thing to do, I would say. Especially when you have a kid being born, and at least 2-3 weeks you have to stay in the house.
And now you have to, I suppose, next thing will be worrying about schooling and education and everything. Is the plan to be mobile all the time, or will you have a base?
No, eventually we want to reside in Cyprus. And I already said that Los Angeles will be my last Olympic Games. And the reason is that also our son will start the primary school after that. And I don't want to have the same lifestyle of kind of being 20 days away from them and 10 days with them every month. So I want to enjoy my family, to raise our family together, not just my wife raising the kids. Yeah.
That's lovely. A good set of values there. I wanted to ask you, Pavlos, because I'm collecting these, if you had to describe what Cyprus means to you in 3 words, what would they be?
Weather. Food. Now I'm thinking short distance is already 4 words. But we can say distance, it defines.
We'll call it accessibility, because that's a brilliant thing that we have here. Do you really? So what is your diet like?
Now or general?
Are you like a Hollywood actor? Do you have your stints of being entirely cautious, and then you're like, ospuna, until I have another gig, I can just do whatever I want?
And not really, because then when you pay the price, you need much more time to come back. I mean, obviously now after the games, it's more relaxed and more kind of more freedom to eat or drink whatever you want, but always within a balance. Because also, it's a lifestyle. You learn in a certain way, and kind of even when you go the other way, your body and your will is kind of calling you back. So even when you eat out in restaurants and there are these nicely decorated foods, but possibly with some cream or fatty or whatever, then your stomach doesn't like that after. Maybe just momentarily you enjoy it, but then you feel that your body's kind of shocked on what's going on, and then you enjoy going back to your plain grilled meat and vegetables and salad and pasta or baked potato. That is simple stuff, but it also allows you to really taste every food separately.
Yeah.
Instead of mixing a lot of ingredients.
I'm trying so hard to do that. But being a non-athlete and a mere mortal, I find it really hard. But yeah, I'm trying to set my thermostat. I have made a lot of changes just because, the lifestyle thing starts to get to you when you reach a certain age. I'm officially middle-aged now, Pavlo.
I think the best way to tackle it's always kind of compare the momentarily satisfaction with the long term and your goal satisfaction. So if someone wants to have a healthy, good looking body, the satisfaction of achieving that should be bigger than the satisfaction of eating ice cream that they love. And on that way, they will manage to reduce it. I don't say that they have to stop it at all, but if somebody is eating ice cream every day or eating a lot of ice cream, then they can eat it once a week or once every 2 weeks, and then already it's a win for them. Already it's a much healthier lifestyle, let's say.
I'm very glad to hear that these kind of philosophies are now included in our education system, because back in our day, we never covered anything to do with wellness, mental health. I think there was Igogiriga. We used to cook and knit while the men were in carpentry. But apparently now they're doing a lot more with social skills, which is fantastic to hear, because it all starts, it starts at home, but the education system as well has a lot to answer for with the way that we live our lives.
And the world is evolving so much fast-paced, and many changes have to happen more to catch up. You cannot compare the education system back in our days and now. Now the internet is already been around for 20-something years. Now AI is booming, and you cannot just teach them Ikogiriga, for example. You have to think where the world is going. Of course, also necessary that they know this stuff, but you have to choose priorities. And what is really important, I believe, it's kind of allowing the kids to get better on what they enjoy. For example, if a kid is really good at arts, then there should be a pathway that they spend more time doing art than they need to know everything, especially in high school. Maybe in primary school, yes, they could have kind of exposure to everything because they don't really know what they want to do. But insisting on being everywhere perfect doesn't serve, I think, no one. If you try to make them perfect in what they love, they will be also much more successful. They can give back to the community. And
if you highlight people's inadequacies, you just create insecurities, don't you? It's nice to push people in areas where they can thrive and feel confident about themselves. Pavlo, I am honored. I am so grateful for the time that you've shared with us. And I am actually a little bit taken by how much I could learn from you. And it just goes to show that the journey you've been on, obviously you've had to mature a lot faster than probably a lot of people your age because of all the challenges that you met along the way. So I think I would definitely like to see some changes, and I really hope that your vision can turn into reality, because it's something that we need. And I wish you all the best for the coming competitions and everything else that you're doing on a daily basis. And thank you very much for talking to us on Destination Cyprus. I will make sure that all your information and your website and your sponsors are on the links below the podcast. And yes, hopefully we'll see you soon on the waves, or doing something that gives back to the community as you have been all this time. Thank you for your chat.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
And everybody else, we'll see you for our next episode, which is sports related as well, on the next Destination Cyprus. Destination Cyprus, brought to you by Cybarco.